Okay.
But can I?
You know what's his idea? His idea. The problem is you will find certain individuals.
Well, I'm talking about scriptures. He said about killing people.
No, hold on a second. There are certain individuals. Hold on a second. There are certain individuals who act, and they act. For example, they're Muslims.
But this conversation.
Hold on a second. There are certain individuals. They are Muslims. But what they do certain acts which Islam has nothing to do with it. Firstly. And not just that, the da'wah has nothing to do with it. And then they come representing there, we are du'at, we are people of da'wah. Now what's the problem? We know that, it's a holy call. The da'wah is a holy call to Allah. Yeah. That's what we do. Which means, and Allah said to us in the Quran, what is it? Allah said in the Quran, قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. Allah said in the Quran clearly, this is my way, yeah? This is my way, the way of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, yeah? أدعو إلى الله. I call to Allah Azza wa Jal upon knowledge, upon wisdom, upon understanding, upon enlightenment. Myself and the people who follows me. Meaning that no anyone come to talk about Islam, he understands what Islam is about. We found here in this park. One day I came to someone, he doesn't know any basic things of Islam. And he is one of the speakers. There is a lot. That's why we came together, the brothers here in the park, we came together, we said, you know what? We need to be certain people, when the people they wanted to learn and to understand.
That's a good idea.
Yeah?
So
the people to know, hold on a second. The people want to understand there are certain, individual here in the park that at least you could refer to. For example, our brother
Mansur.
It's a teamwork, but not necessarily, not kind of organized, it's a teamwork. It's a teamwork. At the end of the day, there's teamwork.
So some people say it's our team, you say it's a group.
So to finish the point then, Jazakallah khairan Sheikh, this is an excellent point that you made. When we find certain people saying, as I said, in particular Christian missionaries, they will say, Islamic Dawah team has done this and that. What they're doing is the same thing they're doing. You make someone part of, can I make my point, please? I just raising a particular issue.
I know, but that's
not to you.
So
now we're discussing this because the gentleman here accused me of lying, didn't he?
Because you said there's no Dawah team.
Yeah.
Now
So
just
said there is.
No.
I said.
Again.
Look, it's not that
You see, you're not letting me make my point.
Listen.
It's not important. But there is teams of people coming here.
Listen. It's a teamwork.
Yes.
It's teamwork.
And you love your Arabic word, so it's a Dawah team.
But all Muslims are teams. So what?
Sheikh, the point.
If you think about it, all Muslims are teams.
Yes, but Sheikh, I'm referring to something different.
Still, we are until now.
Something different. I'm referring to something different. What I'm referring to is this.
Nothing wrong, but don't
What I'm referring to is this.
We have there is nothing we are shy. But again, we are saying to you,
I'm not
we are
saying
not.
it's a wrong thing.
Listen. We are not kind of the organized people that we think. We're not like that. At the end of the day, what we do every single Sunday, we meet, we go have dinner together, we discuss what happened with us in the day. And simple as that. There is no kind of organized people or an organized system, or there is nothing of that. You need to know this. You need to know that. And that's something which means if you meant that is an organization called the Dawah team, there is no.
Good.
At all.
Yes.
That's something which you need
so
to know.
to add, to finish my point on this, there is this demonizing, labeling tactic.
Again,
You're interrupting me again.
Demonizing.
You're
Because
interrupting me
you
again.
use such words
Excuse me.
that it's always against everybody else.
Are you going to let me speak or what?
Yeah,
Are you going to let me
nice
speak?
words. I'm trying to be kind.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you.
You're saying demonizing.
I'm not talking about you.
No.
You see?
We were talking about.
Do you see the problem?
I do.
I'm trying to finish my point for the last 20 minutes. Yes, thank you very much.
But why?
As I'm saying, there are this labeling thing happening in the park for a particular reason. The labeling is done by a particular group or groups, say, these are Muslims. And what are they doing is this. Instead of now discussing with knowledgeable Muslims in the park, discussing issues which requires knowledge, they're going to people who have no knowledge, even by their own admission. Because they've come here, as you said, for whatever reason, fame or whatever. And then they try to represent saying, this is the Islamic Dawah team when it's not. Because it is not the failure of the Islamic Dawah team to simply prove a point. It is the labeling of, excuse me, please, be patient. It is the labeling of those particular groups and say, these people now say, like, we want to establish, the Khilafah on London, and we highlight the importance of ISIS and Sheikh
that's
Baghdadi.
nothing what we talk
Excuse me,
about.
would you let me finish?
You'll find people, listen.
Yeah?
No,
Would you let me finish?
Listen,
or what?
there are people here.
So we
Are you
talk-
going to
I
give
know,
them
but that's
the
not our
excuse me,
conversation.
Are you going to give
Yes.
them the opportunity to
Which I was.
respond?
Thank you.
Because that's not
Are
the
you
conversation we
going to
had.
give you
Yes.
Now,
the opportunity
he's
to
saying
respond?
there
Keep
are
quiet
people
and
who
let
comes
them
to the park
Yeah, but this is
and
our
they say
conversation,
such
not
things.
theirs.
No.
They say such things. And what happens? Certain groups or certain group, they will go and highlight them. They said, look at the members of the
I
Dawah
say
team.
one sentence?
Those are the
But
ones.
can you let me finish first?
All right,
Can I say one
Yeah,
sentence?
one sentence, go ahead.
Can I just say
Okay, one sentence then I finish.
Okay, now it's your turn. Now you
Just one sentence.
Go ahead.
The conversation was about scripture.
Yeah.
It was about interpretation of what the sentences mean
Okay.
and stuff to take out of the content.
Yes.
And so far, that's all I talked about.
Thank you.
That's
Now
fine.
you've gone to terrorists. You've gone to
Do you know
Dawah
why?
teams. That's not our conversation.
But the gentleman accused
Shall
me.
we go back? Shall we go back
So,
to the conversation?
I'm
Let's
saying
end up. Let's
this
end up.
Thank you.
conversation-
Okay.
You know, let's end up.
Nothing to do
Let's
with
end
what
up
you
this.
Can I finish my point before I end up
on
to the
video, that looked like
Yeah.
we're talking about
Sure,
that,
sure.
and we're not.
But because we raised it, at least allow me to finish my point and then we'll move on. Yeah, very good.
But
Thank
you agree
you.
that was not what we were talking
It wasn't your conversation. So what I was saying is, there's this labeling happening, saying, "Oh, these people are Islamic Dawah team."
Again, that's
What,
the difference. I'll have to go.
do you not? Do you want me to finish my point?
Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back to the conversation.
I wanted to finish my point.
Him calling us missionaries is okay.
I didn't call you a missionary.
I'm
going back.
I'm asking
We're
questions.
going back. Ask a question.
I've never
Can
mentioned
we?
reality.
Can we?
I've never mentioned
Can we
terrorism.
resume?
So you're gonna
With
live.
all my respect, can we resume the
Can we get
conversation?
back to conversation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now let's
Nothing
resume the
about
conversation.
anything.
What was the last point that it was discussed?
Okay.
I will start from
So the
there.
discussion we were having, understanding the text within the context. So what was?
Would you like to know what I said?
What I was?
Yeah, that's. Can he say what he was
Please, so we
saying?
can
Yeah,
know what
remind
the
us,
conversation
remind
is.
us,
Please
remind us what you
Okay,
said.
remind us what you were saying.
Basis of what I was talking about
Yes.
had nothing to do with anything what we just talked about. It went way over.
All right, what was it?
Okay, let's go
Basis
back to
what?
the
The
point.
basic was this. Looking at the interpretation of some of the comments that we take out of context,
Yes.
because we can't read Arabic.
Yeah.
My theory was, is there one place I can go to read in the right context? And what I mean by that is, 1400 years we're still going to scholars to say what that sentence means. Surely by now, because I hear
Okay,
it all the
okay,
time.
yeah, fine.
So if there's a book that is world renowned that says this is what it means. Now I understand there's certain letters and words that can't be translated, but there must be a word that we can fit in there so we can actually read it in the context it's meant to be. Because what I sometimes hear is I ask a question or someone else asks a question and we get the
Can you give me example? Because here you're
Thank
talking
you.
about a whole book. Yeah, let's specify it. This people from the other side. Yeah, let's specify it because here we generalize.
I'm gonna have to get my phone in for now
Okay.
again, 'cause
What
we
we want?
talk about
No,
this
what
a
we
lot.
want? We want you to give us example. This example, in order for us to understand where we're coming from. So at least when you have example, so you cannot generalize. You need to know.
Yeah.
Does anyone who opens the Quran, does he get the understanding what is supposed to be understood or not? Yeah. So let me just make it simple for you. The Quran is divided into three parts. generally.
He's going to
The
go
first
anyway.
part is about
He's going to
monotheism.
go in a few minutes. So I'm gonna
About
go.
oneness God, worshipping the God alone with no partner.
no.
Simple as that. We call Tawheed. The second category in the Quran, the second part of the Quran, is about ruling, do and not to do. That's generally what it is. The third part of the Quran is about the stories of the people before and the people who's going to come after. Simple as that. The story of Adam, the story of Moses, the story of Jesus, peace be upon him, all of them. And then as well what's going to happen before the day of resurrection or the day of resurrection or in paradise. So this what generally it is. This is the Quran as a whole. Now you cannot say the Quran, we need to know all of these things. These are normal things that any Muslim knows. Now here, give me your example that you say this is a confusion. That's why Allah told us in the Quran, the things that you don't understand, it's not the whole Quran, the things that you don't understand, it doesn't make sense to you, you don't need to make sense to you. That's why we say to you, and Allah told you, or Allah told us in the Quran, to go and to go to the scholars and to learn from them. Simple as that.
Okay, I'll give you an example. If I was to say the dawah, so if I had dawah off somebody and I listened to everything he said and agreed with it, for example, I know you spoke to someone a couple of weeks ago and said what he was saying was wrong. The stuff he was saying was not right. I remember seeing it. So the point was, if I'd have listened to that one person, say Modine for example, if I listened to what he was saying, I know it's
precisely
stupid.
the problem.
I know it's stupid, but what I'm saying is,
I'm not saying it's stupid.
I don't know that. So if I would have accepted what he had said, I would have gone, yeah, you know what, that makes really sense. But then when I watched a conversation afterwards, Shamsi basically said everything he said was wrong. So my point was, I would have accepted something on the false premise. So the point was, where could somebody like me go, or anybody else, that says this person or this person? Because what I find is, when you get to the point and have a decent conversation, and you talk about, I'll have to get some next time, sentences, they say, I'm not qualified enough to explain what that means. I'll have to go and see a scholar. Now my point is this, if after 1400 years you're still having people having to do that, it's difficult for anyone to actually understand it, never mind me, amongst yourselves, because you're still having to go to scholars. Now, someone was saying about training on surgery. Okay. But you go to a teacher to a certain stage, then after that, you don't need to go to the teacher. Okay. But no matter who we speak to...
I got your point now. I got your point.
Right.
No, Brother
that's
Mansur,
what we were talking about.
No, Brother Mansur, he was in the conversation in the beginning, so that's his turn. So.
Right. So
that was the basis.
So as I said, we need to know who we're talking to. If you want to learn about how an operation should be done on your kidneys, and you speak to someone who doesn't know where the kidney is located, you'll be wasting your time.
We don't know that in the park.
Please.
So who do we speak to? Do I speak to you?
Tell me when you're finished, then I can continue. Okay, thank you. So, what we're establishing here, whenever or wherever it may be, you want to learn about Islam, for example, whoever you may be having discussion with, the discussion should be based on what? These principles of someone who has knowledge to explain it and the etiquette to explain it in a nice way, right?
Yeah.
So, if you have spoken to someone about surgery, I'm going to bring this example to establish a principle.
Do you know why he's using the surgeon? Because for us, our religion, more important than our health, more important than our body, more important than everything. Yeah. So that's why if you wanted to ask about something, you know, about your body, things as important about your, like your health, you will go to the most expert person in that area. Similarly, in Islam, we do the same thing.
But that's even to explain
I stopped him. So
okay, no, not what sentence. So if you want to learn about, you want to have an operation where in your bladder or somewhere or kidney, right? And the person doesn't even know where it's located, and the person then suggests to you, yeah, I know what. Open an incision here and take thing out, and that's your kidney. It's going to have a detrimental effect in your life, right? So you have to know who you're speaking with. So when somebody answers the phone and you ring someone, okay, I need this advice. It could be when you rang the hospital, for example, it's the cleaner, no one was answering. He was answering the phone on the cleaner, and you're saying, by the way, doctor, I want this and I want that happening. Excuse me.
His question was very simple.
Excuse me.
No, because you go
listen,
on so long.
Do you know why he's interrupting me again?
I'm going to answer it because it's a
I am
simple
not asking
question.
you. I'm speaking to this gentleman.
We're asking a simple
We are having the conversation.
He
Can you ask him? Can you ask him to
the
just
simple
be
question
quiet kindly?
is, why after 1400 years
Can you ask
have
him
they
to keep
still
quiet kindly,
not
please?
made the Quran acceptable and
everyone.
Right.
That's all you're asking.
So as I was saying, people, as you can see, as you can see, hang on, you've come to the wrong conversation. I'm speaking to the gentleman. If you don't like it, find another conversation. You're free.
Well, I'm
right. Thank you.
Thank
you. Right. So now what I'm saying is here is this. Whenever you speak to someone in whatever need, excuse me,
and the insult. No,
do you see the problem?
He's always accusing others.
Right.
You
In general, whoever we are speaking with and speaking to about anything, we need to know what we are speaking, who we're speaking with. Because if I want an opinion...
You haven't answered his question, my friend.
You are interrupting me rudely.
Because you don't answer his question. It's
I'm not talking to you.
Question.
I'm not talking to you.
He's trying to be polite. He's asked you a simple
You're very rude. You're very rude.
A simple question. You've made it into a eulogy.
Listen, can I say something?
Why don't you ask him?
Listen.
I know.
By the way,
this is it.
Listen.
Is he asking if he's a Christian? Is he with the Christian missionary?
I don't know him.
Yes, he was.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. He is an adult person. he's a mature person.
I don't know.
But he's
Hold
polite.
on a
He's
second.
being polite.
Yeah, if he's that doesn't make him less important. It makes
And
him,
that's why I'm
in
saying
my
to
eyes, the
speak up.
one who's
He
more
asked
polite.
a simple
I respect
question, my friend.
everyone who's watching
Yeah,
now.
but he asked
Can I
a
say
simple
something? Can I say
question,
something?
and he's given a
Listen,
eulogy.
I will tell you
You could
something.
have written a 3-volume
You know
book
what?
about
I will
it,
tell you
and he
something.
hasn't answered the
Hold on.
question.
Okay, hold on a second.
To be honest, nobody's answered it.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you only allow me.
Simple question.
So as I said, now in concise ways. After 1400 years, the information is there, quite easy to understand for those who want to understand. If our hearts are crooked, and if we read a straightforward text, we'd never understand that text, even though it's blatantly clear.
Even after all this time.
Allow me to finish?
So you don't need to.
If you allow me to finish? So our heart needs to be open, unbiased, to understand the clear text. The Quran has been translated in English translation clearly. I've given you 2 translations out of 40 that I know of. If you have any confusion,
Come back.
you can
Simple.
consult all of them if you wish.
Yeah.
Even after that, if you have confusions, you can speak to people to clarify. But the reason why I'm making an understanding through principle is this. When you spoke to people in the park, this is precisely my point. There are people representing to be Christians when they know nothing about Christianity. I'm not going to say, this is what the Bible teaches. I'll be totally in wrong
That's
to
not what
take
I'm
that.
talking about.
I'm not talking about you.
Ask
No,
him
no,
the question
I'm
again,
talking about-
brother.
I'm saying it.
Ask him the question
We've gone
again
off
so
what
he
we talked
remembers
Not
what
off.
the question
Okay,
is.
go on.
You've spoken to people, right? You've spoken to people like I've spoken to people. If we want to know about matters about scripture, would you not agree? The person that we want information from,
That's not what I asked again.
Exactly.
We've gone off
Tell
again.
him.
excuse me,
If there's a,
Hold on.
if there's a,
I've had
if
enough.
there's-
I've had enough.
No, because we're
Wait.
going off what we
Okay.
talked
He
about.
Let me
hasn't
tell you
answered
something.
anything.
He is saying to you basically as simple as that. Now that the Quran is translated to all the languages. Now, most of the languages in the world. It's translated in English. There is more than 40 or
So
50.
how can I get it wrong by reading it wrong?
Hold on a
Because
second. Hold on a second. That's one of the things. We're requesting you now. What are the things? We need example. You cannot just say all of it is wrong. The impression that you give that all Quran cannot understand it doesn't
Give an
mean that.
example on the
So,
table.
what we are saying to you, okay, now here, give us the example which you think is
Well, I
confusing
did
for
before,
you.
but my battery's dead, so I
Okay,
can't do it.
give us the example.
What was
So,
the example?
okay.
Can you not share?
Okay, next time when you come back here, be ready and write it on a side. So at least if your battery died, then you will have it written. And here, this is what Quran is teaching us. Quran is saying to us, ask the people of knowledge, of remembrance, if you don't know. Simple. That's how it means. The Quran for me, and not just only you, even Muslims, amongst Muslims, they will read the Quran. Some of the things is confusing for them. They want to understand. They want interpretation. Now here, you need to know that the Quran didn't come alone by itself. Quran came backed up with something called the Hadith. Yeah?
But that would depend on who translated it and the context.
Exactly.
So which
that's
translation would I go
That's
by
why.
then?
Generally, there are many. Which is now, for example, Sahih. What do you call it?
Sahih
what do you call it?
Sahih translation.
Then everyone says his translations are wrong.
It's good. No, generally it's good. Overall, it's good. I have checked it. The translation is quite.
you'd agree
it's
some
quite
of it's
good.
wrong.
It's quite good. I don't know what is it. Give me an example.
Do you see the problem? Without giving specific example,
cannot say.
this discussion is meaningless.
I don't know.
You've just said yourself, not all of it is correct.
Not all of it, but again.
So you know yourself,
No, like what?
there's
I
certain
didn't say about
passages that
Sahih.
are
I didn't say about. I know that the Sahih translation is quite good translation, and I rely on it generally.
But you've without me even saying a
Simple.
passage, you've said some of it is not
No, I
right.
didn't say about Sahih translation.
Okay.
I said some of the translation. Unfortunately,
right.
some of the translation here we need to go back. Some of the translators, they are.
So why is it not all of it is a good translation?
Did I not explain that to you?
Okay, I will tell you.
In a way,
I will tell you. For example, can you make a joke? For example,
Allahumma
can you
sta'an.
translate a joke from English to some other language? It doesn't sound funny.
Okay.
My point is the Arabic. When the Arabic language is a very
Then
rich.
there would be
Hold on.
an accepted.
Hold on. There are very rich. The Arabic language is very rich language.
Yeah.
For you to, that's why we say. That's why even the new Muslims, we tell them the first thing they need to learn Arabic. So with the time they will understand it more in depth. Yeah. So now the translations give you kind of general understanding. Yeah. That's what generally the translation. They give you general understanding. Yeah. Some of these translations they back it up with some hadith and other things, but generally they give you general understanding. They don't give you the depth because the Arabic. That's why not, because the English language is not as rich as the Arabic. Simple.
So this is my point. So we go back to exactly my point. So after 1400 years, we still haven't got to the point where it can be.
No, in Arabic you go back. That's why the Muslims are required to learn Arabic. That's why they will learn Arabic and they will
For
understand.
you, when you don't know Arabic, you need to consult more than one English translation.
Why?
Is that difficult?
Why can't it be done?
Same,
like,
because the Arabic language, going back, the Arabic language is so rich language, it's very
So it
rich
depends
language.
who translates.
Again, yeah, it depends on who translates. But that's
Okay.
why I encourage everyone, for example.